Hello, it's me James and we're here for a bit of spider action! In early 2019, WizKids announced there was going to be a Superior Spider-Man team-up campaign box, and we all got a little bit excited. Unfortunately, after a bunch of spoilers, followed by a bunch of delays, the whole thing got cancelled and we all cried. If you want to know the full story, you can check out the blog that I wrote the other day on the DM United website. While writing that blog, I did a bunch of research into the spoilers that had come out and also into the Spider-Man stories behind the set, particularly the Spider-Verse stuff. And I was inspired to make a bit of a video, and here we are. Now, all the spoiler images that you'll see in this video are already on that blog, but what I didn't do in the blog was speculate about what characters might have appeared in the set. So that's basically what we're going to do today. What use is that, you might think, for a flipping defunct set? Well, you'll see at the end of the video that this might not be completely dead. But more on that later. So, in fact, there was not just a campaign box, but also a team pack associated with the box. Not two, as there usually are, but just one. Before I go on, I should say a big thank you to Emily Jane on Facebook and to Sour Alba and others on Discord who helped me figure out who all these characters could be. Okay, first up we're going to have a look at the team pack because they were nice enough to put all the dice images on the front of the team pack, so we have a pretty good guide to go from. Okay, we're going to start in the top left-hand corner with that blue and orange die. And if you look very closely, behind the dice images, you can see some blue and orange, which is at the bottom of Ashley Barton's card. So I think it would be a fair assumption that that die belongs to her. Ashley Barton was the daughter of Peter Parker's youngest daughter in the Old Man Logan universe, I think, and also of Hawkeye. She also went by the name of Spider-Woman and another less family-friendly name, and she was pretty brutal. I'm not going to show you the next frame in that, but please do check out the comics. It's in the Spider-Verse, and it's great. Next up, we have that die with glasses next to Ashley Barton, and this had me stumped for a little while, and then DM Armada, I think it was, suggested, and Emily Jane backed up that it was perhaps Madame Web, who wears glasses and dresses in those colours. It seems to be a younger version of Madame Web. I haven't quite got that far in the Spider-Verse yet. She would require a die change and a stat change from her original incarnation in the game. But that's not beyond the realms of possibility, I think. So, although we're not sure, I'm going to say Madame Web for that one. Next up, we have some low-hanging fruit, because the product description for this team pack actually mentions the characters Spider-Man Noir, which I think is fair to say is that die, Leopardon, which could be that one, and Spider-Ham. And yes, I do know he's called Spider-Ham, not Spider-Pig, in case you've read the article, but you know, Spider-Pig is funny. If you're not quite convinced that that one on the left is Leopardon, check out this image with his eyes, maybe, and as a little bit more evidence, look at how the die has been used before, and particularly at the last character to use it, which was also a kind of mech Spider-Man. So it kind of makes sense, and it was mentioned on the blurb, and I don't think they would have changed it. So I'm going with those three as Leopardon, Spider-Ham, and Spider-Man Noir. Next up, we have a really easy one, because there was a spoiler for this, and you can see the dice there. That's Spider-Punk. Then we have two more, and now we're out of packaging information and blurb. So this one, well, a Spider-Verse pack without Miles Morales, and it's in his colours, so I reckon that one's a shoo-in. And then the last one is that red and white die with a sort of diagonal spider. This again had me a bit stumped, because it's a recoloration of the Scarlet Spider die. But in the end, it was Emily Jane again on Facebook who said that that was probably Spinneret, who is MJ as a spider hero. And there's a little bit more evidence for that, because later on you'll see a spoiler which actually features Spinneret there on the right. So, these are my guesses for those 8 dice. Did I get them right? What do you think? Please let me know in the comments. But we haven't finished yet. Don't go away. Don't go away. We've got more. Just before we move on from the team pack, I wanted to have a quick look at the artwork, and you can see at the top there that I did some research and also helped by Emily Jane. That is Anya Corazon, that version of Spider-Girl. And then I actually found the original image. Oh, look at that. And there we have, apparently, Spider UK, That's Ashley Barton at the top, Spider-Punk, Spider-India, I think, Mayday, Spider-Girl at the bottom, and then a shadowy character which will remain a spoiler in the comic. I don't want to spoil it for you. Okay, that's the team pack, but what about the campaign box? Well, let's enlarge that image and see what we've got. Well, conveniently, we also have a product description here which mentions heroes for hire, and here is Iron Fist, and there is Luke Cage, and Cloak and Dagger, and there is Dagger next to Luke Cage, and over here is Cloak. There's a few more recognisable dice that have already appeared in the game. There is Hellcat, next to her is Gwen Stacy, or Spider-Gwen, and next to her is Daredevil. There's also, if you look closely over here, there's a black and white die which looks a lot like Cloak, but in fact it's got two little pointy ears, so I suspect that that is Black Cat, and it looks like maybe the stats match too. Then, next to her, there is a weird die which appears to be a recolouring of Agent Carter, and I was racking my brains to think what she might have to do with the Spider-Verse. Please write in the comments if there is some connection, but Sour Albert on Discord said that perhaps that is Webslinger, who's a sort of Western version of Spider-Man in the Spider-Verse, and wears that colour of shirt, and indeed wears a hat like that, so maybe that's what that is. Next, there appear to be at least two Spider-Man dice. There's one here and one here. And perhaps one of the spoilers can help us out here to identify which one is which. If you look at that spoiler, I guess that the Spider-Man die is the blue the blue background with the red spider on it, which leaves us another Spider-Man, which could be perhaps Superior Spider-Man, Doc Ock as Spider-Man, because his name is in the title, and that seems like a reasonable assumption, but we don't know. Also on that spoiler, we have confirmation that that is Iron Fist, if we actually needed that. And if you look very closely at the text of that Iron Fist, it looks an awful lot like it might have been a reprint of the Immortal OP card, which was very highly sought after, and I never had. So that would have been nice. Continuing with the spoilers, we also have spoiled an Aunt May, whose die you can clearly see here. And pretty excitingly, if you look closely at the text of that, that really is definitely a reprint of Constantine Hellblazer. Oh my goodness me, I would like to see that back in the game. That was fun. I think the last spoiler we have is Silk, and I reckon you can just about see her die here and also down here, although obviously that's a bit difficult to make out. The product description also mentions Gorgon, who I think was a hand assassin, but at least I can't see which one would be his die, as he's not been in the game before. Maybe it's there, maybe not. But in the spoilers, we also had another hand person, which was Typhoid Mary, and I think you can see it. Well, yeah, I think that's pretty much her die, and we've actually seen that die for real in the Infinity Gauntlet set. Another spoiler was Elektra, whose die I cannot see anywhere. And then there's one more hand person up here. I assume that's some kind of perhaps generic hand assassin. Maybe a hand foot soldier. Not sure. We have more baddies in the form of Kingpin here, who's been in the game before, and presumably Green Goblin here. And then we have a few dice that I can't quite work out. Please do write in the comments if you know what these are. There's a bright yellow one there, which you can't see much of. And then there are two crossover dice, one here which is dark blue and orange, and another one here which is sort of pale yellow and red. And then there's possibly another one down here which is sort of blue and white, but I'm not too sure about that one. There's also a mysterious kind of police shield here, which we had some ideas about, but nothing very concrete. Do let me know in the comments if you have any ideas who they might have been. Okay, so here are my guesses for what would have been in the campaign box. Quite a lot of them, really, but have I missed anything? Did I get anything wrong? Let me know. Now, some of you might be wondering what on earth the point of all that was, considering the set is never going to be released. Well, it's a fun game, apart from anything else, but there is a bigger point than that. You might remember that earlier I showed you one spoiler. Well, let's have a look at a few more. Now, these are not like most of the slightly blurry spoilers that you've seen so far, which were obviously sort of clipped from WizKids presentations and stuff. These are clearly real cards, and indeed they are. They were sent in September 2020 to the lovely people at DM North. These were billed as an OP promo set, as you can see from the blue stripe. And if you're not sure what that is, I'll explain in a minute. But the important thing is that they clearly represent, or at least in 2 cases, a recycling of the material from the cancelled set. And this is pretty exciting. Let's just have a look in a little bit more detail. First up, we have the one we've seen already with Spinneret on the right. Not 100% sure about the other one on the left, but I think it might be Jessica Drew, sort of Black Widow, Spider-Woman. Please do correct me in the comments if you know better. Next one is Spider-Man Wallcrawler of Forest Hills, and that should look familiar because we've already seen it in that blurry spoiler. And the only thing that's really changed is the dye. It's changed from that dark blue background to a red background, and that's actually the dye from Infinity Gauntlet. So that would make it usable. And the third of the OP set was Typhoid Mary, which we've also seen in quite a decent image, actually. And very little has changed there, except that they've used that new symbol for the sidekick character die. Now, you may still be thinking that this is all a bit irrelevant. You know, this was September 2020, and lots of things have changed since then. But in fact, just yesterday, it was announced that WizKids are selling this very same kit on their website. It looks like it's $10 plus, I think, postage, which might be kind of okay for the US, not so much for Europe and the UK. But the really positive thing about this, in my opinion, is that it suggests we might see some more of these. And we might see Mayblazer, you know, that Aunt May card with the text from Hellblazer. Yes, please, that one I probably would stamp up for. If you're a bit confused about what play-at-home kits are and OP kits that I mentioned earlier, I did say that I'd explain. Well, OP stands for Organised Play, and when you play, you know, before COVID, when you played in a game store, you could win cards. The game store could buy these sets from WizKids, and they could distribute them as prizes and participation prizes for the people who played. And there were some quite good cards amongst them. That Black Widow saw a lot of play. This one not so much, but they're pretty cool all the same. Nice artwork. And that Kate Bishop was very popular for a while. So it seems that WizKids have recognised that people obviously are playing at home now instead of in store, but they still want to make these organised play, or promo kits as they're called, available to people. So now you're going to be able to buy them directly from the WizKids website. As I say, I am pretty excited about what other cards from the Spider stuff that we've already seen might be recycled in that form. And just to finish off, I think there is one more place which is a likely candidate for more recycling of the stuff which presumably was designed for Spider-Man, either in terms of the, you know, the full character and the art, or maybe just the abilities. But if we take a look at what's coming in June, Secret Wars. If ever there was a time of a clash of realities and an opportunity for Spider-Verse stuff to make an appearance, perhaps it would be in Secret Wars. So let's keep our fingers crossed for that. I want Mayblazer in that, or as an OP, and I really want to see Spider-Ham and a lot of other great stuff. I've had a lot of fun reading about this stuff, and I would absolutely recommend that you go and read the Spider-Verse comics. They're really good. I haven't finished yet, but so far, brilliant. Anyway, I should probably stop there. Thank you very much for listening. I hope that was useful and informative. If you've got any questions or corrections or comments, please let me know. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and probably click that notification what's it thingy. Thank you very much indeed. Take care and see you soon.